of the Coach Kellie Speak Show. I am so excited. This is going to be a great show. My special guests are Alicia Queen, the real estate entrepreneur, and Lillian Prince Mitchell, best-selling author of 10 Days Later. Before we begin, I'm going to start. I always like to start off with a story. On yesterday, I took my boy swimming, and during that time, it was this gentleman who was swimming like it was a Olympic-sized pool, first of all, and he did at least like 15 laps. He did not take a break, and he was like really, really serious. So my son, my oldest son, he turned to me and he was like, "Mama, you have to get in here and teach me how to swim like that." And so I told him, I said, "I really don't want to get my hair wet because I got the show or whatever." So I decided to just jump on in there with him, trying to teach him how to swim. First, I had to show him how to float and all of that kind of stuff. So unbeknownst to me, my youngest son, he decided that he wanted to get in the water. He didn't say he wanted me to teach him, but he just jumped right in there. And I'm giving all of my attention to my oldest son, and he's doing it. And all of a sudden, I noticed that my youngest son, he is like literally he's not kicking, but with his arms, he's just going and going. So when he got to the end of the wall, he put his hand up and he was like, "Lap one." And then he turned back around, and before you know, he was up to like 5 laps. And the moral to this whole story is that the expert was already swimming. This guy had to be an expert because there's no way that you can do a consecutive 15 laps in an Olympic-sized pool if you aren't already doing it or have been doing it for a very long time. My son, on the other hand, he was a beginner. But he knew that he wanted to swim. That was his goal, that he wanted to be able to swim like that expert. And so in segueing into my show, my youngest, who I didn't even know was paying us any attention, he decided that he was going to jump on board. And so it was other spectators around us just kind of looking at this guy swim. And this lady came over, and she just kind of sat on the edge of the pool, and she just kind of stuck her feet in there, but she never got in the water. So the whole object lesson to this is basically that there's levels to everything that we do. There's levels to swimming. There's levels to business. But it's not until you jump in, it's not until you go in, and you never know who's watching you. You never know. You can be doing something and you not even thinking anybody's paying attention to you, and then all of a sudden you see someone jump next to you, and now they're swimming next to you, and then that gives you an opportunity to stop and teach them something. So we're all doing something. We're all going in a positive direction. This whole entire show, this whole show, my goal and my vision is to empower others through personal development, learning about business, and segueing into financial freedom. And so with that being said, it's with great honor. It's always honorable to have people who I love, respect, that I have been watching. Some I've been watching on social media. Some of my guests, I know them personally. I've watched them develop into great business owners. I've watched them be moms and, just go through different challenges. But I wanted to make sure that I honor those who have honored me and supported me throughout my life. And so my first guest is Alicia Queen. She is a real estate entrepreneur, and the whole show is really about just, maintaining your 9 to 5, doing your side business, which most of us is not a side business. It's another full-time job, right?
It really
is. And so welcome, Alicia, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. It's nice to watch you live out your dream, too. We go way back to when I was very little. So it's nice to see how far you've came, and certainly inspiring to watch you live out your dream, too.
Yeah, so Alicia, the mom, super mom, right? And if anybody follows Alicia, you'll know that her whole page is about her family. It's like family, 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 real estate, But you can see her love and passion, what you're doing, even in your own family. And so, what made you choose real estate?
So I think that I wanted to do something different. I wasn't necessarily happy in my daytime job, and one day I posted a status, kind of complaining about it on Facebook, and I had someone to inbox me and suggest real estate to me. And I didn't tell anyone. I didn't go with it. It was just kind of like, no. And then maybe about 5 or 6 months later, my husband told me he had a dream that I was a real estate agent.
Wow.
So for me, I felt like, well, this must really be something. So he told me he knew a few real estate agents that I can reach out to because I wanted to know the pros and cons. If I was getting into this, what really were the pros and cons? And so I reached out and I spoke to one who's now like my mentor. She's really great in real estate and doing things. And she kind of gave me the pros and cons of it, and I felt like it was something I could do. So I just kind of, like you said, I was like, in the background looking, and I decided to just go for it
and just jump on in there.
Jump on in, exactly.
So, what are some of the steps that you had to take to get to become where you are now? Like, what did you have to do?
So it was very easy to get in, and I think that's what it was like for me. I did go to college and get my bachelor's degree, but I didn't love school. So I knew I didn't want to go get a master's or do anything like that. I went to real estate school to get my salesperson's license. It was only a 6-week class. I went 3 days a week from 6 to 10, and then I was done. I had to, of course, take my state exam. And then I followed my mentor into Keller Williams where she was. So I kind of already knew what brokerage I wanted to go into. And that was it. So it was very easy to get in. But you very much an entrepreneur in the sense of building your own brand and your own business. I think that was something that I didn't know at the time when I nosedived in, but it was very easy to get in.
Yeah, and so one of my mottos is that I jump and then I grow my wings because I don't want to get stuck in trying to, what someone say, perfection paralysis, like I want to wait until, everything is working out. And so like you say, you kind of you're learning along the way.
Exactly.
And so what was one of those things that you were like, that kind of took you back the most, like, how am I going to do this?
Well, I think it was, when you've worked a job for so long. I mean, I had worked for Department of Defense for maybe 8 or 9 years when I came in. So you're used to, you go to work every day, you show up and you get your paycheck. And a lot of people joke about the government because the reality is, even if you have a day where you don't feel like working, you're still going to get paid. Well, being
a good government
exactly.
job.
Being a real estate agent it really is 24/7. It really has taught me entrepreneurship because if I don't advertise myself, if I don't work, then I won't get clients, I won't get paid. So I think that was, like I said, a big shock for me, is building my brand and building my business and trying to get clientele, because while I am up under Keller Williams, they don't give me clients. That's my responsibility to get on my own. So you really do have to work at it and try to get your clientele in. And again, build your brand, because there are a lot of real estate agents out here. So why do people want to come to me versus another real estate agent? So it's important to put yourself out there and really build a brand for yourself.
And so where do you go for inspiration? Because you said branding a lot. Like, where do you go for that?
So I feel like in our area, period, there are a lot of successful women that inspire me. You inspire me, of course. One of my mentor, her name is Arnita Green. She inspires me. So there are quite a few people, other women that I see that are doing the same things. They're successful. They have families. They have kids, and they're doing it. So a lot of my inspiration comes from seeing others. Of course, my inspiration comes from God. Growing up Christian and being a Christian, knowing that, as long as I have God behind me and I'm applying myself, that, he'll provide for me and he'll make sure that it happens.
Yeah. And just having a confidence. And I could tell that you have that, and just I mean, you're doing an excellent job.
Thank
You
you,
know, me
Kel.
watching, me watching your social media. You know, of course, we fellowship at the same church, so we see each other. You know, we have that same expectation that
Exactly.
it's gonna work out. Like my plan
Exactly.
A is God is gonna work out. My plan B
Exactly.
is God is gonna work out. And
Exactly.
so every other plan goes that way. And I know for me when I first started out, I just knew that I just liked what I did. I didn't know anything about branding, and so how do you and this I'm gonna go to your career on this one because I know we can go real deep. But I want to just make sure because this is a how-to show. But what would a person need in order to qualify for a loan or a house?
So I think a lot of people are a lot further off than what they think. A lot of people think that they need to do so much more to get a loan and you don't. Typically, the credit score, they would like for you, a lender would like for you to have 620. The better your credit score, the better. At least 2 years of stable employment. And some money saved up because sometimes you may have to put some money up. There are a lot of programs that are designed to help with first-time buyers, and the definition of first-time buyer isn't always a person that has never bought a home. For example, if you haven't bought a home in 10 years, you could be qualified or classified as a first-time home buyer. So those things typically are the most common to helping you get a loan. But like I said, a lot of people are a lot further along than what they think and could be able to purchase a home because the price that you pay for rent, you can get your own home or even a cheaper home than what you're paying in rent.
So what is the process? Like they contact you. Do they have to? Would you provide everything for them? Like what would that process be like?
So some people that contact me already have lenders or are already pre-approved. If you don't, I do have lenders that I know of and that I work with that I can provide their information to you. You have to be pre-approved before I can take you out to look for a home. And like I said, I can give you lender contact information to be able to get pre-approved. And once you get that pre-approval, then you kind of let me know what you're looking for, what do you have in mind, and then we start your journey in finding your dream home.
Mm-hmm. And so with the share your information. You have a website.
Right. So you can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Queen Leash the Realtor. And it's Queen, the traditional spelling, Leash, Lish, the Realtor. I'm on Facebook at Alicia Queen Realtor. You can reach me by email at realtoraliciaqueen@gmail.com. So any of those ways to contact me. My social media has all of my information as well. And so even if you're not ready just yet, but you may have questions about what you can do to get ready in the future, you're welcome to contact me. Any way that I can help you, I will, or at least put you in the right direction to get close to being there.
Yeah. So I was speaking with someone this week, and they were just saying like once you get your pre-approval, excuse me, does that mean that you're automatically going to go to closing, or how does that work?
Not necessarily. A lot of lenders are doing more extensive pre-approvals. And so it's, of course there's no 100%, but a lot of times they'll pull the necessary information to kind of, make sure that you're going to make it to closing. So long as you comply with the things that they're asking for and your status doesn't change, you don't lose a job or something happens before closing, more times than not, you're pretty much going to go to closing with that pre-approval.
Okay, great. Are there like some don'ts like in that process that someone needs to know?
So if you get a pre-approval letter, it's not good to quit your job. Don't become an entrepreneur. Don't go out and make any big purchases. Don't buy a car. Because they do look at your debt to income ratio. So the best thing to do is to just kind of remain on ice, so to speak, and stay at the status that you were at prior to. It's not a good time to decide not to pay a bill or be late on a bill. You want to just kind of keep all those things up.
Yes, please pay your bill. And so, what was your plan of action for transitioning?
So I think that was probably the weird thing. It was pretty impulse. So I don't think I had a plan of action. It was just kind of like, let's try this.
Okay.
People ask me, do I intend to quit? Because I still work a full-time job. I don't think I intend to quit. I would like to grow my business, and my goal is to make as much in real estate as I make in my full-time job. So for right now, that's my plan of action. I think it's important to have multiple streams of income because deals fall through and closings get pushed back. But at least I have the consistency of my good government job paycheck. So for right now, I enjoy it, and I don't want to kind of make a plan too far ahead because then I may set expectations for myself and disappoint myself. So I'm kind of just going with the flow for now, enjoying what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, with all of that going on, how do you find time for Queen Leash?
I told one of my oldest child is Kobe. He's 10. One of his friend's mom called me the other day, and she was surprised that I work full time. And so she asked me the same thing, how do you do it? And I told her, some days I don't know. Some days I don't know whether I'm going or I'm coming. My husband is very supportive in the sense of, if I'm out showing homes or doing something, he'll watch the kids or just, not watch them because they're his, but he'll handle the kids. And I kind of just make time for myself. I have a standing appointment to get my hair done every 2 weeks. And for me, that's girl time, so I just kind of make time for myself to try. Sometimes it's tough, but it's a balancing act, but I just make it happen because I don't want to lose myself in the process.
Yeah, because it's hard.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
being an entrepreneur my whole life, and there are days where I forget to wrap my hair, and I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to wrap my hair. I'm about to curl my hair in the morning. There's times where I have to get up at 6 and 7 o'clock and make dinner,
Right.
Dinner. That sounds so DC. I have to make food for the kids. So it is and being a wife, and you have, wife duties and things like that. So do you have a ritual in the morning to prepare your day?
I don't. I should. I just started recently getting up 30 minutes earlier. So I do the morning drop off. My husband does pick up. And my kids and I, none of us are morning people. So our mornings are usually pretty crazy. If you're my friend on Facebook, you see sometimes my statuses with my kids. Sometimes they're like scary movies in the morning. You just never know what you're going to get. But I did recently try to start getting up earlier to just prepare myself for my day. I started to do more of listening to my Pandora station in the morning and getting up and praying in the morning to try to set a tone for my day. I found like it's helping. It's helping some because with the kids, you never know what mood they're gonna wake up into. So I'm trying that, and I'm hoping that makes it all the better.
Yeah, and just having that sense of calm. Yeah, so they can follow you at
Queen Leash, the realtor, on Instagram. And on Facebook, I also have a page, Alicia Queen Realtor. They can follow me there. And my email, if anybody wants to reach directly out to me, is Realtor Alicia Queen. And that's ALICIA. Queen is QUEEN @gmail.com.
And so what we're going to do on the replay, we usually post your website and your contact information. So
Perfect.
Catch the replay on our YouTube channel, which is Coach Kellie Speaks. And I'm going to make sure that I have a link for each one of the speakers because people have been in my inbox. People text me, and sometimes right after the show, I'm flooded with emails like, what's our information? What's our information? Or, so don't worry, guys. We're going to, because they probably trying to write it down like, Queen. Don't worry. We got you on the replay. And you can also follow us on all social media, which is Coach Kellie Speaks. It's very, very easy. Kellie with the IE. And so I'm so excited for you, Leash, because, the confidence that you walk in, just everything that you do is really embodies the entrepreneurship. And a lot of people don't know, as an entrepreneur, you really have to be on your A all the time. Like, you can't. It's like it's not, you can't have a day off
at all. I'm learning that. I'm learning that there are no days off.
There's no days off, and you have to, and then also log on to Listen Vision Live for just a better view. And it's also great for our ratings, because we want to make sure that we are able to see, because I do make it available on Facebook and, Twitter and those things. But it's great to just to see where we are actually on the link. Okay. And so what else can we talk about? Like, I had so many questions, for Leash, because I really don't know a lot about real estate, and that's something that I want to do at some point. Like, maybe get a condo. Like, you have people who what would you say to someone like me who says, I think I want to get like a real estate property. I already have a home, but I want something where I can rent it out.
I think it's a good idea. As a real estate agent, that's something also for a plug. While I do buy and sell properties, I do rentals as well. So I think it is a good market for renting as well, because some people are not in the market to buy. They may be here for a short period of time, or maybe their credit is not where they want to be, or they don't desire to. So there are a lot of people that rent. So I think that is certainly a good business to be in. If you can afford to get a property, you can almost always make back with the mortgages, and sometimes even more, because this area alone is pretty pricey and people are willing to pay for it. So investment is always a good idea, because it's your property at that point, so you could do what you like with it. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be contacting you.
Yes.
Let's
get you pre-approved. Let's get the show on the road.
So we're gonna come back with Alicia and then Lillian Prince Mitchell down. We're gonna have her come back on, and then we're gonna have both of the ladies come back on for our panel discussion. We'll be right back after this commercial. Hey everybody, it's your girl Coach Kellie, and I'm so excited to announce the launch of my new show, Coach Kellie Speaks. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's all about personal development, business, and personal finances. Yes, I want to get your money right, help you to grow your business like never before. I've declared that 2017 is the year of legacy, and it's all about going to the next level. And I want you to tune in. Welcome back to the Coach Kellie Speaks Show. I get excited when I hear that. I'm like, oh my God, this is like really happening. But anyway, so I have my My special guest, Lillian Prince Mitchell. She has this great book that is so hilarious. Let me just say, like, first page, laughing out loud, in public, at the. Okay, so Lillian Prince Mitchell. I keep saying Lillian Prince.
I know.
I know. It's like
Everyone has to
but
get
you
used to
married
it.
now, girl. So tell us about your new book.
So 10 dates later,
I'm
here it
holding
is.
up for
Here
you.
you go.
Hold it for you, girl.
10 dates later is 10 short, funny stories of awful dates I went on in my 20s. And it's really funny. It's really honest. It's really transparent. I have a very candid conversation with the reader, which is what I think a lot of people enjoy because I share like my thoughts during certain situations where I couldn't really say what I was thinking, but I shared with the reader what I was thinking. So that's always fun. Yeah, a lot of people have been really, really, warm and receptive to it. And I think it's just because of how honest I was.
Very transparent. With the called it parentheses. I was living for like really girl, and you feel like you're having a conversation with you.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. I wanted people to feel like they were talking to their best friend. So that because a lot of people go through all of these things, but a lot of women don't like to talk about the process. Everyone talks about, the wedding and the ring and the happily ever after, but there's a process before you get there, and so that just shed some light on that. Yeah.
So what was your favorite, what was your greatest lesson in all of these dates that kind of shaped you to where you are now?
To always protect my peace. I think that's so, so important. I think a lot of women and men, they will sacrifice certain things, to keep their mate happy or, to keep a relationship going. And in the process, you can lose yourself. And so in one particular chapter, chapter 28, which is like the not funny chapter, I had really just given up my peace because I was so determined to get this ring. I just had a one-track mind. I didn't care what was going on, what happened, who it was. I just wanted to get this ring. And in the process, I lost myself. And so it was just a really, just wake-up call for me to really to look at myself, to see how I had, like, just dropped some of my perspective and just, like, I just wasn't being wise anymore, So, just a very honest look at it and just sharing that with people. And I think a lot of people, more than they like to admit, have been through that, where they have sacrificed their self or sacrificed their peace, to keep a man or to keep a woman. Yeah.
And you don't have to.
No.
I mean, this is an example that you can own your standards and your values and put yourself first.
Yes.
And I have this motto with this teacup. And this is just a teacup analogy that what's on the teacup is for you. What's in that teacup is for you. And what's on the saucer is for everybody else, Because if your cup is empty, you can't give anything,
You can't
and
pour into other people.
Yeah, you can't pour into anybody else. And a lot of us say, we gave 120% to the relationship. And at the end, we're all burnt out.
Keep some for yourself, please, because they do.
Yeah.
Please.
And so, what is it like? Because I see you on social media, you're traveling, you're making appearances. What is that like?
It's so new for me. When I wrote the book, I really didn't have I don't want to say that I didn't have high expectations, but I always wanted to write a book, and this was always the book that I wanted to write. So my ultimate goal was just to get the book out there. Everything else was extra, like being number one and going on the news. So it was very it was new, and it was an experience, and it's like I just always find myself jumping into things that I don't always think I'm prepared for, I'm qualified for, but seconds before, I'm like, you got to pull yourself together. You're here, you got the platform, you got to make the most of it. I am always happy to hear from women who have, like, the book, did something for them. I had one lady email me and said that her mother passed a few years ago in March, and so every year she takes this trip. And this year she took the book with her, and she was like, it was like having my best friend on a trip with me. God. So just to hear stories like that I was able to bring people joy. I love to make people laugh. I love to write. So this was, both of my babies in one. I don't have enough guts to do stand up. So this was the best way to do it. Yeah.
But you absolutely can.
Absolutely not. Because the first person boo me, I'm ready to fight.
Like, what? You gonna boo me? Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna write something.
You wait till you get your review tomorrow.
Just wait. So I think that is so good. And so, have people been asking you, like, when's the next book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I hear that all the time. And I honestly tell them I'm waiting for God to put something else in my heart to write. I don't want to rush something or just write it because this is done so well. This book was on my heart for years. I'm sure I even probably talked to you about it. All those awful dates I went on, and I always wanted to write this book. The vision for this book came so naturally to me. Just the way I didn't do chapter titles. I was just going to do the age that I was during each date. Just things like that just came naturally to me. I don't want to rush and do something and force it, because I want it to be natural. I want it to be another conversation where people know that this came from my heart. So as soon whatever God drops on me, I will put it out there.
Don't rush.
No.
Don't rush. Because this is enough. You can read it again and again. It's one of those books that you want to have a book club and, get with your girls and, and just talk about it.
Yes.
I was sharing it with my clients and I use you as example all the time because women, they'll sit in my chair and they'll it's hopeless. They're like, there's no good men out here.
I've been there.
And so I'm like, well, I have a book and, and I'll share the link with them and say, read this. And, I'll see them in the salon and they're like, man, you know what? I feel her, and then your ending is you have your ring, got a ring on it.
I got my ring.
And so when did you get to a point where you believed in love again?
I think after chapter 28, after going through that experience, I really just relaxed for the first time in years. I was no longer pressed to get married. I really just had a different attitude towards dating. I was able to date people just to date. Instead of dating people with the hopes of, is this going to be my husband? Okay. So, and I just really hate those cliches because when I was single and people would say, when you stop looking, I'm like, girl, you ain't found nothing when you ain't looking. So I hate to hear it, but it was true. Like when I stopped looking, when I took all of that urgency out of the process, Tim just appeared out of nowhere.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Because it does sound cliche when people say, girl, you'll find something. Just don't worry about it. Focus on yourself and, and things like that. And so you are the living testimony that, because like you said, I just relaxed. And, one of the things about peace and joy and just self-preservation, because in that process, I remember when I was dating, it's like I went from crisis to crisis, one jerk to the next jerk. And for a year, I just shut everything down and just was like, I always had a boyfriend from when you first start liking somebody, like 7th grade, and then it's like, it's almost like a disease if you don't have a boyfriend. You don't have a man, it's like, girl, what's wrong with you? And so what would you say to a person that's waiting?
Just be patient. Try to find other things to occupy your time. I think if your focus, if every time you leave the house, your hope is that you're going to find a man and you're going to meet a man. Sometimes if you just go out and hang out with your girls and go, find some things that are fulfilling for you, because even after you find that man, you're still going to need some things for your own and for yourself and things that keep you happy and keep you occupied. So, just live your life and find some things that bring you joy outside of a relationship.
Yeah. So how would you speak to someone who was in a long-term relationship and it just ended abruptly?
What happened? I want to know.
Yeah. Really, because we hear about the girl who, was with someone for 10 years and then 6 months after their breakup, they're married to someone else. You know,
because you done prepped them. That thing hurt to just hear it. Oh my
Don't it
God.
hurt? Like,
I hate to hear it. But it happens all the time. You know, and it's almost like you have prepped this man for the next person. It's much easier said than done, but I do believe after a long stint like that, you should probably just take a moment and get to know yourself. I tell my girlfriends this all the time, like, know yourself, know what you enjoy outside of him. You know, so many things have changed in the last 10 years that you probably have been unaware of, especially as far as dating goes, because you've been with this one person. So, you know, I think it's important to just kind of like scale back a bit, get to know yourself a bit, date yourself, you know. Don't go to the wedding, you know, don't show up and do nothing crazy at his wedding, but, you know, you don't have to tap him on his shoulder and ask him what happened.
I was looking at YouTube, and it was a story of this girl who, you know, she's in the back of the wedding, and right before they kiss, she goes bananas, and she goes
they had security.
off, though it was no security. They're fighting, you know, and so you do have to use your self-control and know that what this is not who I am. It doesn't define me,
and it's not a reflection of you. You know, timing is everything, and oftentimes in those type of situations, the man will have told you a long time ago, I'm not looking for anything serious. But I think as women, we always feel like we can change his mind. Okay, well, he said he's not looking for anything, but if I do X, Y, and Z, so now you done gave up everything you have, and you know what I mean, and he still want to sit back on, but I told you that's not what I was looking for. I told you that's not what I wanted. So, you know, I think you need to look at those signs, like, and just listen to them. When they say they're not looking for something serious, take him at his word, you know, and don't go in with that expectation thinking that you can actually change his mind.
Yeah, because I find that a lot of women, and I guess once we start getting older, you know, we're asking why, where is he, where is he, where is he, where is he? And so I remember I'm watching you, I guess it was 9, and you were saying, you know, when is it gonna happen? You know, and so how did you get settled in? You know what? I'm just gonna. You know,
sadly for me, just being honest, it took a really bad experience. You know, it took, you know, going through something like I did in chapter 28 to really just step back. You know, I probably would still have been the same way if I hadn't gone through that and just realized, like, I had to do some self-reflection to see, like, what am I doing? What am I putting off? Because it can't, sometimes it is them, but it can definitely be something that you're doing, and it may not be intentional. You know, it may just be, you know, men just, I mean, I don't want to call it, they're not just like dogs. You know, dogs smell fear. You know what I'm saying? And I think men can smell that desperation, like, oh, she going for anything.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And once they pick up on that, if you don't meet a decent enough man, they'll take advantage of that. Yeah. And so, you know, after I went through, after chapter 28, I ain't want to be bothered with nobody or nothing. So it was fine. And that's what got me together.
He was like, listen, I hear you.
I got you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Got it.
I got it. And so every unlearned lesson is repeated, and you don't want to continue to repeat the same things
that's
over and over again. So tell us your social media, how we can get the book and all of that.
The book is available on Amazon. Just do a search for 10 Dates Later. You can find me on Twitter, 10 Dates Later, Instagram, 10 Dates Later, Facebook, 10 Dates Later. I also have a website, 10dateslater.com, to let you know about different speaking engagements and book signings. There's actually one coming up on June the 10th at Clyde's in Gallery Place. You can reach out to Krista Dale for more information. That's KRISTALDAIL on Facebook for all of the details. Thank
you so much for being on the show. We're going to come back right after this commercial.
Okay.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Coach Kellie, and I'm so excited to announce the launch of my new show, Coach Kellie's Truth. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's all about personal development, business, and personal finances. Yes, I want to get your money right, help you to grow your business like never before. I've declared that 2017 is the year of legacy, and it's all about going to the next level. And I want you to tune in. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Coach Kellie Speak Show. I have the girls back. Hey. This show has been amazing. Like I'm learning about some stuff myself. Like I'm getting ready to give me a house so I can flip it. Look.
Yes.
And so this is our final thoughts with Coach Kellie, which is a panel discussion. It's an open panel discussion. And the first question is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start a side hustle? You know, I just say side hustle because everybody like, girl, she got a hustle. She hustle, you know, so you can start.
Definitely try to find something that you enjoy. It always helps to get paid for doing something that comes natural to you. So like writing a book, you know, I love to write. That's always been something that I've wanted to do. So that just made sense. That was easiest for me, especially when it's a side hustle. You know, most time that means you still have a 9 to 5. So something that won't, you know, just intrude too much on your 9 to 5, and that you can still handle, you know, on the weekends and in the evening.
I agree with Lillian. Also, I think it's important to do research. A lot of times you may think that you want to do something, but do you really want to do it? And so you don't want to jump into something not knowing, one, what's required of you, and two, what you're going to get out of it. So I would definitely say do research. Make sure it's something that you are able to grow in. It's not something that's already too saturated or watered down that you'll lose your zeal pretty fast. So definitely do your research. Like Lillian said, do something you love, because then it doesn't really feel like work to you.
Yeah, I would agree with you both. You know, you want to make sure that it's something that you like, because for me, I'm creative. So if something is too much like a job, I kind of lose motivation. So make sure that it's something that you like. If you can cook chicken real good, maybe, I mean, you know, maybe you can start a side chicken business. I mean, it sounds...
That food truck.
Yeah, get that food truck. You know, the guy from, what is it, Cake Plus and Georgetown Cupcakes and things like that. They didn't even think that they would be making millions of dollars just from cupcakes. So don't underestimate and don't despise small beginnings. That something that you may think is minute. You know, look at Chapstick. They have one product and they are multi-million dollar company. And so I think that you should just love what you do, you know. So my second question is, how do you keep up with the social media? Like how does it work for you? What platforms do you think are the best for you, and what you doing as an author?
I try to use all of them. I don't discriminate, and I really hadn't used Twitter in years prior to writing the book, so I had to make another page just so I could make sure I wasn't just leaving any audience untapped. I try to post something daily. I love to post reviews, just to let people know. I mean, obviously, I'm going to endorse my product. I'm going to say it's the best book. I'm going to say it's the funniest book, which it is. But it's good to hear it from other people. So I try to always, I like to post funny things to keep people laughing, to, again, just know my sense of humor. And just keep people engaged, and just keep 10 dates later on your mind, that it's still around, it's still available. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the same with me. I want to keep people engaged. A lot of times my Saturdays and Sundays are very busy. So when I'm out, I try to post, whether it's pictures or most oftentimes videos of homes that I'm showing. If it's a really great deal, sometimes I'll post the prices too, just to let people know, because I think sometimes people need to know you can get this townhouse for under $200,000. You can have a $1,500 mortgage. So I definitely try to do that. But I try to make sure that I post, a normal selfie. Girls like selfies.
Love a selfie.
Yeah.
I post my kids, my husband, because I want people to know too that if you do want to be an entrepreneur, you can still have a life outside of it. And so while I am a realtor, I'm also very much a normal person, like you and I and everybody else. I mainly do Facebook and Instagram. I need to get some tips from Lillian and get on Twitter and everywhere else, but I'm normally Facebook and Instagram, and I try to post, like she said, just pictures of houses, and if there are new programs and things that come out, just to keep people in the know.
Yeah. That's awesome. For me, I try to do all of them. It's very difficult because it seems like there's always something new. At one point, then I went to Vine, and then it was LinkedIn, and then I forgot my access for one, and so then I wasn't on. But it's just like a lot, and you have to be intentional about it. And for years, I wouldn't even post a selfie like on my business page, and one of my friends was like, "No, post a selfie. People want to be engaged in your, your personal life." And then it's now, and I'm trying to get a cute a selfie, so I'm taking 60 pictures, trying to find, how to do it all, and so. Social media, I think, is the heartbeat now in business. So you definitely want to be on social media and find which one works best for you, because your audience may not be Twitter. It may just be exclusively Instagram. I know for Instagram, I think it's 18 to like maybe 35. So if your audience is baby boomers and you're selling something that may be targeted towards that age group, Instagram may not be for you. So know what audience you're looking at, know your status, get a Google analysis account so you can know, how you're monetizing your different posts. And I think that you'll see some type of results within your business. And so my last question is, just share, if you can, share your most rewarding experience as a business owner.
Mine would probably be both times I hit the number one spot on Amazon in the dating category. I'm sorry. I was really excited the first day because that was when the book first came out. It was the first day that it was released. But then about maybe like 2 weeks after that, someone called me and was like, your book made it to number one again. And so it just felt good to know that people were still involved and still engaged and still excited. I mean, that's always a dream for an author, especially because I self-published. Mm-hmm. I did everything on my own. I didn't have the backing of a big company to promote me. So, it was up to myself and, my amazing support system, my family, my friends, to post and let people know. So, yeah, that was definitely mine.
So mine would probably have to be my first client. Again, when I started out, I didn't, I knew what I was doing, but it was very new to me. So a young lady that knew of my husband came to me, and she had been getting some runarounds with a lender. And she saw something he posted about me, and she came to me, and we found her a house. And so when she went to closing, I was so happy, because when I talked to her, she was so frustrated. She was just like, I'm over this. I'm going to just rent for the rest of my life. I'm totally over it. So for me, it was a proud moment for me, because my mentor told me, she said, a lot of people, even in their first year, they don't go to closing. That's not something that happens. So for me, I was really excited, and I think that's probably going to be my most memorable experience, not only achieving it, but achieving it as quick as I did.
Yeah, I think for me, I had a recently I had a client who came into the salon, and she just kind of lingered. I asked her, did she want her hair done? She was like, not really. I just came to see you, and that was her thing. I just came to see you. And I was like, okay. And so 4 hours later, most of my clients, I'm wrapping them up, and she's still there. And I was like, okay, she's still here. What's going on? And when everybody was gone, she's like, I'm going to sweep up. And at that point, I knew, like, it's something going on with her that I didn't know. And so after it was all said and done, she told me that she was going through an abusive relationship, and the salon was the only safe place she felt to come to. And so for me, that was the most rewarding thing, is not, all of the money. It's just the fact that I can be someone's answer. I'm someone's solution, that someone can come into my salon and they feel safe, and they feel like, and I was able to connect her with a domestic violence advocate. They gave her the resources that she needed, and that for me was like
Amazing.
the icing on the cake. Like, I was like, business owners, we have such a great responsibility. We are community leaders. There are going to be people that's going to come to you, and you're going to direct them into purpose. Some people, like you said, you were someone's virtual best friend after losing their mom. You gave this lady hope that I can have that American dream. So It's not just about us. It's also about giving back and, giving a hand up to someone else. So, ladies, if you can share your social media with us one more time, that will be awesome.
10 Dates Later on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And I am Alicia Queen, Realtor on Facebook, and Queen Leash, the Realtor on Instagram, and Leash is spelled Lish.
Yeah, so thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you, guys. I'm so excited because this show gives me the opportunity to just create this platform for us to have conversations that, you want to ask someone in business. I know when I first started in business, I was like, and it was the era where it wasn't social media. You couldn't follow someone on Facebook. They wasn't giving away clues. There wasn't blogs of step A through Z. There was no X.com, for me to Google how to do this. So I went many, many years just peddling, and trying to find a mentor. And then one day, someone accepted me to be their mentee, and it was on from there. And so we have an awesome opportunity. I'll have to say I thank God for this platform because, I was always the shy girl with a squeaky voice. I thought I had a big nose for like 5 years, and I was always teased about, and I don't even have a big nose, but it just lets you know that little things, like, people are crazy, and it can stop you even in your purpose. So it's very important to have that self-love, like Lillian said earlier, and say at this point, it's whatever. I'm going, and Leisha said, I'm going to do a nose dive into whatever God has next for me. And so, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Next week, we have Tanya Freeman. She's the author of Winning Through the Storm. So we're going to be talking about that. And thank you so much. Again, follow us on our YouTube channel at Coach Kellie Speaks. And we will see you next Monday.
Bye.